Triumph Motorcycles. It was a poster brand for so many of us, only a dream hanging on a bedroom wall. We always wanted the Rocket, the Daytona, the Bonnie, the Tiger. And while we got all of that, entry to the brand was still at a very high price point. All of that changed last year with the introduction of this motorcycle, the Speed 400. The Speed started off life at a very killer pricing, rupees 2.23 lakh, went up to 2.33, then got back to 2.23 and finally sits at rupees 2.4 lakh. Today, Bajaj and Triumph have decided that they want to make this entry point even more accessible, and for that purpose, here I have with me the Triumph Speed T4.
T4. Nah, this isn't a Metro City's new airport terminal. The T stands for torque and 4 reminds you that this is a 400. It is Bajaj's attempt at using simpler, not so expensive parts to get the cost even lower. Because this one is priced at rupees 2.17 lakh, 23,000 rupees cheaper than the new Speed 400.
When you look at both these motorcycles together, they might look the same. But what separates the T4 from the Speed 400, first and foremost, there's a different color scheme. There are 2 more colors added to the T4. You also have this T4 badging on the side panel. When you talk about equipment, it's using a telescopic fork, actually mounted calipers. The handlebar is now steel hydrofoam. The mirrors are regular mirrors. There are no bar end mirrors here. There is no ride-by-wire throttle, which means no traction control, no immobilizer as well. Lots of small aluminum parts that you saw on the Speed 400 that have been replaced by steel parts to save up on cost. When you move to this section, you will see that the seat profile is different. The wheelbase is longer, ground clearance has gone up and so has the saddle height. In fact, it also weighs slightly more than the Speed that we have here. Tire profile is completely different, there is different finish on the exhaust. So essentially, this is almost like a new motorcycle than the one that we saw last year. But the most important thing for me is that engine. It's the same cubic capacity, but it now makes 31 PS and 36 Newton meters of torque. And I've been told that the internals have been revised completely. So new camshaft, new cam timing, new air filter, the intake components have been revised as well. And I'm assuming that this will feel like a completely different motorcycle, and there's only one way to find out.
And I found out that the engine in this tune is not bad at all. It's not dull, but it's not intimidating either. It feels like a softer, younger Speed 400. Better tractability, easier build-up because of a strong bottom end, and overall very nice. I have to say that this feels like a better city motorcycle than the Speed 400, which feels strange to say because I really like the 40 PS motorcycle too. Refinement is at par with what I had experienced last year. 90 to 100 kilometers per hour feels like a nice spot, and anything beyond that will make the handlebar buzzy. For the RPM geeks, 100 kilometers per hour will be at 5,450 RPM. It does not make as much power, so the top end, for a lack of a better word, feels dry. But if you insist on pushing till the very top, Bajaj claims a top speed of 135 kilometers per hour. On the flip side, if you come back to being sane and gentle, you can expect a fuel efficiency number of 30 kilometers per liter. That's 4 more than its elder brother. I know this does not get a ride-by-wire throttle and there's no traction control. While I have no problem with a cable, I strongly feel TC should have been a part of this package because of where and how the T4 makes all that torque.
While there is no change to the chassis in any way, shape or form, Triumph are saying that these thicker wall tires are now responsible for 2 things. One, there's an increase in ground clearance, and because of the increase in ground clearance, there's also an increase in the seat height. One more thing to note, the wheelbase is also longer, and I will get to that in just a bit. Now, talking about accessibility, the seat itself has a narrower profile, so you're sitting closer to the tank. And if you ride in bumper-to-bumper traffic, you should be able to get your foot on the floor quite easily. The pillion seat too has additional foam, so comfort should not be a problem.
No matter where you try to run, I'm coming. It's over when the bullets get to dumping. Shook got your heartbeat jumping. Ready for war, my adrenaline is pumping.
Talking about the wheelbase, it's definitely longer than the old Speed 400, but honestly, there's not much of a difference when it comes to handling. It still feels as agile as it did last year, so that's not a problem at all. And finally, the tires, these are MRFs. The new Speed 400 will get reddish tine. Unfortunately, it's been raining during our entire first ride, so this is the only time where we could test it, but I would love to give it a try when the sun comes out. They do feel a little skittish in these conditions, but again, I'm going to reserve my judgment and I'm going to give you a verdict when the sun comes out.
The telescopic fork as well. Don't worry about it in terms of spec. There's no real problem when a motorcycle gets a telescopic fork. As long as it does the job well, I have no complaints. But I have a complaint. The overall ride is still on the firmer side. In spite of a revised setup at the rear, the feeling is still not the best. For any city motorcycle, it should have a softer feel to it, and that's missing. And while we are at it, I also want to say that the brakes felt soft and could have done with a bit more of that initial bite. But because this is built to a cost, the sintered pads on the Speed 400 are replaced by organic pads on the T4. Some hits, some misses for sure.
Yeah, that's a crime. Let me go and shoot it out. I ain't doing no time.
So if the Speed 400 is 4K, is the T4 Full HD? Well, it's not. It might not be Samsung 4K, but it's definitely a TCL, and that's not a bad thing. Because at rupees 2.17 lakh, it still is a very enjoyable motorcycle. A better ride for sure, has a different feel to it where you want to take things peacefully because it delivers performance in a way where it's different from the Speed 400. And that brings me to one very, very important question. Who is this motorcycle really for? It's for someone who does not like the performance of the Speed 400. It's for someone who finds the Hero Maverick too bland. It is for someone who is looking at the Hunter 350 but has deeper pockets and is willing to reconsider. And now, when I think of it, where does the Speed 400 really sit? What happens to that motorcycle? I don't know. A couple of things that you should know before I end this video. There will be no T4 variant of the Scrambler 400X, and this is not introductory pricing. It is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
On that note, thank you so much for watching. We will do some comparo videos in the future. If you have any suggestions, drop them in the comment section. Drop a like, share it with your friends. This is the Triumph Speed T4U. My name is Varun Painter, and I will see you later.